But we'll move on to the big one of the weekend.
Yeah.
And undoubtedly, inarguably, has to be Wales v England on Saturday afternoon. Getting the headline slot. 4:45 kick-off time in Cardiff, Principal Millennium Stadium.
It's like this is the championship decider.
It is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. It's coming bang smack in the middle of the championship, because of the way it was aligned, and people were back in Ireland to be the contenders, but writing England off somewhat prematurely pre-tournament, and that little bit of agitation doing enough to spark England into furious form, which is exactly where they belong in. That along galvanised by the return of some key men.
Yeah,
this will be interesting because now they've had that return and now have lost two of them in Vunipola and Itoje, who are not available for selection.
They also dangerously enough have re-added Ben. Now we're shooting this on Wednesday evening, so but chances are by the time this comes up, the side will be out.
Yeah, but as we talk right now, we don't have the side.
No, indeed. But the presence of Ben Teo in the English squad is a curious one.
Always worries me.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't unless he's named at 12. Well, in the week they play Ireland.
Yeah,
that's always a positive one.
But if they were to drop Manu Tuilagi after those,
for that boy,
that would be crazy.
Absolutely.
But I suspect that they won't. Yeah. And Chris Ashton omitted from the squad, so it's going to be Nolan May with Cokanasiga, I think, on the bench to come on, and he's an explosive boy as well.
He is, game breaker.
Yeah, they have like an excellent centre partnership. An excellent halfback partnership. Young's form is flying. Farrell is obviously great. Killer wingers, especially Johnny May. Potentially a bit of a weakness at fullback. I could certainly see a proficient kicking out half causing them some problems, especially with some go forward. But
that's what no one's managed to generate against them this tournament.
Yeah, and that's we'll get to that point because that's the key.
Yeah.
Gareth Anscombe for Wales, I don't think is that guy anyway.
Yeah.
So it's likely going to be ball in hand that they're going to try and threaten England, which is like it's a big rush defence inside that stops teams from generating momentum. So Wales adjust as the game, and they do it better than anybody else. But it's just stand deep. It's not a flat to the line thing.
And go
stand
wide,
very
wide,
deep,
wide.
Go wide, run off one another.
Sure, they scored a few tries against them in the World Cup to illustrate exactly that point. Very deep, very wide, and there's space out there.
Yeah, and put a little bit of shape on it, the odd screen in and here and there. Definitely get Liam Williams into the game a bit.
Yeah.
Get Jay Davis on the front foot. Those are the pictures you want. England's defending at centre still has question marks over it. I still like as good as Slade is with his kicking game and go forward. I don't think he's a top class defender in the 13 channel.
Yeah.
I certainly think there's weaknesses there that big grey scrum capped machine might be readily able to exploit.
It's true.
So
to his outside shoulder.
The big hope is that Wales ask questions of what England are doing now.
I want Wales's back row to pose some problems for them at breakdown. The defensive breakdown of Wales needs to be harrying and combative and just make it awkward for Youngs and therefore Farrell by extension. And that would kind of make the game more competitive. I think we'll see something like that. I think this will actually be quite a low scoring affair that it usually is, because I think they might balance each other out for large periods of the game with that kind of stifling play from either ones. I suspect Farrell and Youngs to be kind of targeting some of those Welsh wingers with some kicks. Like England have been kicking an unprecedented amount of ball here anyway, and may want to expose some of that push defence.
They'll probably push Josh Adams, I'd say, will be on the left wing. They'll probably push him back deep a bit and have two in the backfield. Yeah. I expect Wales to be ready for that at least. I don't I expect certainly
shouldn't be caught catching them as surprise. It would be it's still Farrell's execution can mean that even if you're not surprised by it, it's very effective.
I would say when you have it most purchase is when the game is broken up. Maybe off turnover or off a line break. That's when you'll see them implement it. And
there's still question marks though about how that backfield coverage works without Halfpenny there and with Liam Williams especially there. Because Liam Williams doesn't cover quite as much space in the backfield. Just seemingly doesn't have that kind of reading of the game down. And also, the wingers do have a tendency to get a little bit detached. The pendulum can break a few times with wingers pushing up prematurely and getting isolated. So that'll be something to be looking forward for. And that along with they'll be doing that, but two-way kind of street. They want to play Johnny May into it, attacking kicks across to wingers pushed up. They're finding a lot of space and a lot of tries therefore for Johnny May so far in the tournament that way.
George North certainly isn't the most proficient at defending that. No. And that's a very curious matchup.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of it hinges as it has done. Like England have looked flawless in the opening two rounds because
They've won
physically.
every
They've been they've been smart in how they've moved the ball, even in those tight areas. Excuse me, but they haven't been stopped, and so that's what we need to see from Wales. Like you say, there is going to be that harrying. I think that's going to be there anyway. You know, if you have Tipperick and Alwyn Jones in your team, you're always going to get a bit of niggle, a bit of slower ball than you otherwise would have with those guys up against you. But the real question is, what does the rest of the Welsh pack look like? Because we've seen Wales of Gatland in the Gatland era on numerous occasions come up against big marauding sides, often in Ireland jerseys, and chop the legs off them. Just come out galvanised, sing your magnificent anthem magnificently and loudly, and then just from minute one, like England did in Dublin, just grabbing the bull by the horns, getting out of the line, chop tackle. Billy V can't get the ball away because he doesn't have time. He's down
He's
straight
felled
away
like a tree.
Yes, indeed. And those are the kinds of winning conditions that you would need to see from Wales. It's going to take more than just the exceptional play of Tipperick and Alwyn Jones. And I'm also hopeful that they do continue to play on the elite level, vary the game, attack well. Like, I'm okay with a low scoring game if it is that sort of counter attacking balance. It's just a theory of mine that one of the pictures of the worst years for the Northern Hemisphere are always that the Six Nations is decided between England and Wales, and it's always a terrible game. You know, that happens.
A terrible game that's beloved by all Northern Hemisphere people who watch it because of intensity and defensive magnificence. But it's like, it's not defensive magnificence if 3 phases in the ball was dropped.
And offensive incompetence as well. It's just not noticing opportunities, not exploiting holes and weaknesses. Like, you want to see them playing at a top level, and just routinely you see
these boys have a lot. I like, there's an unspoken thing where these two teams just really do have a willingness and over eagerness to run into each other, and really do want to smash the other one back very desperately, often at the expense of space. And so a lot of these games can be quite slow and quite physical. Definitely, like some of the collisions are immense, and that's gonna flatter to deceive as far as the quality of rugby on show, because you can't fool yourself into thinking that should you play this way religiously against any team that you're going to get all these results all the time. But I still suspect this game will go that way for large periods, because they're going to try and run over each other.
I just think that England are probably smarter than that this year. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but they strike me as much smarter in the way they're going out.
Well, like, I just think with Farrell being the fulcrum at 10, that could be the thing that changes that. Because in the years gone by, when he wasn't the key playmaker, they've either been too reliant on being narrow and trying to smash over, or the opposite, flashing it like wide very quickly without any kind of bludgeoning going through the centre, and not really earning any right to go anywhere because it's all very telegraphed and Fraz isn't dictating it. Whereas now, this little more assured halfback combination, you'd hope, like, they'll allow the forwards to do their work, try and allow Billy V to create some momentum in the fringes, but it's the second it's there, Farrell will be looking to call the play, dictate exactly what's going on, and try and get it to where the space is. Be that through a kick, be that through a pass, be that whatever, but going to try and target and score tries. And that's what they've been doing so far. They've been gaining the front the whole time, which is what the challenge Wales have to do. The first challenge they have to do is to just stop them getting that front foot. It's just to ask them the question of, what do you do then? Because we don't know that about this particular England team as of this tournament right now, because it just hasn't happened yet. This could be the game for it too. And should it happen, that's when it becomes a question of these halfbacks and what can they do? Can they steer this ship in any other way? And also, can Wales ask questions of that still as yet unproven centre partnership? Although it looks good on paper and looks good on the pitch so far, but when tested defensively, can they
if
make
Wales can generate
and then plays?
If Wales can generate a bit of front football, they can't be afraid to offload. Is one of the things for Wales. They can't just afford to get tight, because they're not actually as strong as the English guys. Like Corey Hill is no George Cruz when it comes to strength, and those matchups are all over the park.
Ross Moriarty, Nathan Hughes.
Ross Moriarty, Billy Vunipola.
Oh yeah, Nathan Hughes isn't starting, is he?
No. It'll probably be Brad Shields, or Wilson, Curry, and Billy Vunipola.
Yeah, he couldn't drop Curry anyway.
No Brad Shields, probably not. He'll probably be on the bench.
Right.
Or maybe it'll be Nathan Hughes on the bench. Brad Shields has fallen out of favour, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's
almost as if he was only all right.
It's like, listen, these are good. These are good fixes. Genuinely good fixes that you're seeing from England all over the place. Yeah. And like, if it's a false dawn, Wales will be a good team to exploit it. But it doesn't really look like a false dawn. It looks like a good team playing very well. It looks like a proper
England team, to be honest.
And, they
It's something that we've always known is that everyone's always known as that is there. The All Blacks know there's a good there's a good English team out there in the world, and it's always slightly amusing to see them get it wrong for so long. But you always get the sense it's fleeting. It's not the same as with France, where it seems like they're free falling. But England are kind of getting a few things wrong last year, but directly fixing them. There were cogent measures done.
The holes that are to be found defensively are certainly out wide. Tuolagi's and well, actually Slade is at 13, so Slade is not like a leader of a defensive line.
No.
Tuolagi's instincts are to go wide. Elliot Daly as a fullback defender, I don't think is the most proficient. Even Johnny May, who I really rate, isn't like he's very good under a high ball. He's very good in space, but he's not necessarily an elite level defender.
No, it's not his.
So that's where you attack. You have the 13 channel and outside it. And if you can flood those channels and do a bit of interesting things over there. It all starts with quick work ball, though, which I think comes from a bit of offloading game and a bit of smarts in and a bit of shape in what you're doing up front, just to slow the rush and stall the rush and then get a bit of space and go. I think it's a fascinating matchup. I'm leaning towards England at the moment. Just think they're probably a better team, but probably winning is a habit, and Wales are at home.
I'm kind of half suspecting Wales will do it. But that's flitting with every passing minute. I do think I wrote it down there, but I get the sense that this is a game that's going to be decided by an error.
You know what? If that happens, that's a bad sign for the Northern Hemisphere, because every time that Wales-England is the deciding Six Nations game and it turns out to be a terrible match,
that is often decided by an error.
A
crucial
what
error.
Happens in the forthcoming autumn is that all the Northern Hemisphere teams do terrible, and that is a consistent trend. You can look it up, find those years that England and Wales games have been the deciders, and look what happens later on in the year. Like all those years that Wales were winning Six Nations and couldn't lay a glove on the Southern Hemisphere teams. That's the reason why, is because what they were getting so comfortable playing each other and with all the physicality, but they weren't moving the ball crisp enough, and then they got used to defending teams that weren't moving the ball crisp enough. And then teams came to town and moved that ball as crisper than you could believe.
Yes, indeed.
And scored loads of tries.
Yes,
and
indeed.
That was the end.
Yes. And hopefully not creeping back into view this side of the World Cup.
I suspect they're better than that. I think it's going
to
be better. I think it's going to be a much better game than years gone by.
Well, certainly than the one last year, wasn't it? That was 12-6 in Twickenham, wasn't it?
I can't remember what the score was, but I don't remember it being particularly interesting. I remember the thing I remember about that game is Eddie Jones, who has already started with some antics, but he called out Patchell and said he was like no good, and Patchell ended up having a terrible game.
Yes, indeed. Vindication. We should all be trash talking before games.
Well, then he went and lost like 6 games in a row after that.
No, that wasn't rugby, mate.
That wasn't rugby. They were in games of rugby.
Maybe it would have a point if it was a game of rugby, but it wasn't. Predictions obviously a tricky thing. I'm half leaning Wales currently. You're half leaning England currently. But it's the rubber match. It's the championship match.
I'm still waiting to see Wales. I really rate Wales, and I wanted to watch them because I didn't watch them enough last year when things were going well.
And
where's the picture of Jonathan Davis in the wide channels, being put onto the ball, getting the ball away to Liam Williams?
It was disappointing with him as captain in Italy. None of that happened, and it was just a very stuttery performance.
Where the hell are Wales?
So I was looking forward to seeing some Welsh tries against Italy. They always, apart from that last game, managed to score a load of tries against Italy, which is maybe good signs of improvement in Italy, but also questionable signs of Wales.
Having watched the game, I would say more the latter than the former.
Maybe so.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you enjoyed that video, please like down below and subscribe for more videos. And please enter the comment section to join our conversation. Thanks.